Kamati ya bunge kuhusu ulinzi inamhoji katibu mteule wa wizara ya ulinzi Patrick Mariru, ambaye amezungumzia suala la hongo wakati wa kusajili makurutu wa kijeshi. Aidha, amezungumzia bajeti za siri za wizara ya ulinzi na umuhimu wake. Tusikize yanayojiri bungeni.
The effort as a country. On the area of secrets, Mr. Chairman, the first question that the member asked, whether as a PS there are things I will do, there are things I will not do. Mr. Chairman, I've been now in public life long enough to know there are things that you should do as a leader that helps the country, and others that you do that will compromise the country. It will be wrong for me to be here and say I will release certain secrets within the ministry because I will not. Those that must not be released, I will not release them. It's not because of me, but there are things that in security arrangement are better kept the way they are kept, so that our country remains safe. But those that need to be known, they will be known. But those that don't need to be known, Mr. Chairman, I humbly submit, will not be known.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are really pressed for time. In the next 10 minutes, you should be concluding. I just want, Honorable Yusuf, since you came late, you will not ask a question, you will introduce yourself. Honorable Wangare, you have a pressing question. I'll give you that opportunity to quickly ask, but before you ask that question, let me allow you to introduce yourself. Just that, Honorable Yusuf.
Thank you, Chair. I apologize for coming late. There were special reasons. I would have wanted to be here very early as a committed member of this committee, and I beg you to not to infringe on my right as a member and allow me to ask at least one question.
I'm not infringing on your right. I will.
There were exceptional circumstances.
We have another.
I am one of the most active members of this
allow
committee.
me to speak to you.
You know for sure.
I know. Okay, I'll allow you.
Special circumstances.
But then, no stories. Just direct to the question, please.
Maisha bila stories in Ara.
Proceed with the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm delighted to see our colleague having a second life outside politics. My first question is also related to the second. I caught your answers, and I see you have done your homework. You've done very well on answering the DRC question. And you said that the DRC question, DRC must be helped because it's part of the East African community. But no any other East African country has so far committed troops to the regional force. Why do you think Kenya should be the policeman of East Africa? You want Kenya to be the policeman of the region? And at what cost? And then just a quick one linked to your personality is that you have been a politician. And I think this question might have been asked by...
It's been asked, Honorable.
Yes, sure. Okay.
So please, Honorable Wangare.
Thank you, Chair, for indulging me. I have got a question. I've been sent by a member of the public signed as Muigai, and I will read it verbatim. Kindly, Muhesh, ask PS nominee on behalf of the ex-Kenya Air Force whether he will honor court awards. Previous PS was taking advice from Ulinzi House that paying us will set a bad example. The courts, including Court of Appeal, has found that we were innocent and victimized. We are suffering. This Thursday, we will bury one of us, Joram Gadhu Boro, at Matuguta Githunguri. He really suffered. Thank you, Muhesh. I'm Muigai, ex-KAF of 1982.
Okay, Honorable Mariru, if you can quickly attempt to answer those questions. Avoid misadventure so that we can save on time. It's okay, just answer. I'm sure probably because it's from the public, it's important that you still again put the record straight.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for those final questions, set of questions. You know, our investment and our engagement in DRC is not unilateral. It is pursuant to head of states agreement and resolution to the East African countries to engage in DRC. So we are not doing it unilaterally. The countries agreed, the head of states agreeing. So the commander-in-chief in our country is doing, and what he's doing is in pursuant to that agreement. But nevertheless, the other countries are already engaged In fact, South Sudan, I think, is already engaged. Burundi is already engaged. Rwanda is already engaged on their side of the boundary. Uganda as well. The only country that is not as engaged as we speak, and I'm sure they would, and that is within their domestic discussion, is Tanzania. So it's not a unilateral decision. It is a shared responsibility within the East Africa, and we're just doing what we agreed to do. And as I said, the DRC question, the decision we made and took as a country is the right one, in my view, and in the view of government and in the view of the National Assembly having approved that. The court awards, I had answered that question, and is an issue, I can tell, is an issue that needs to be considered. Mr. Chairman, because I'm not in the office yet, allow me to say that is when I get to the office, it's one of the issues I would like to ask for briefing and look at, so that then I don't, on top of my head, do a commitment here on top of my head without due consideration of that matter. So when I get to the office, I would like to have a consideration of that issue, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And finally, we'll give you 3 minutes to ask the committee to consider you and your final remarks.